Sometimes the truth isn't in what she says, it's in what she hides. She'll act calm, collected, maybe even uninterested, but deep down her emotions are far from silent. A woman's attraction rarely announces itself with words. It slips through gestures, glances, energy, through the spaces between what's said and what's left unsaid. Because the more she feels, the more she tries to control it. And that's where the real psychology begins. You see, women are emotional strategists. They rarely confess attraction directly because vulnerability is risk, and risk means loss of power. So instead of telling you, she tests you. Instead of confessing, she communicates through subtle signs. Signs that only the calm, observant man can read. These signals don't come from her logic. They come from her body, her tone, her rhythm, her micro-behaviors when you're near. She won't tell you she's into you, but her instincts will. Most men miss these signs because they're too busy trying to impress. They talk too much, move too fast, try too hard. They drown in noise instead of reading the silence. But attraction lives in subtlety. It hides in the way she reacts when you speak, in how her energy shifts when you're around, in how her body betrays what her mind is trying to hide. Understanding those signs doesn't just make you more confident. It makes you powerful. Because now you're playing the game she thought only she understood. The truth is, female psychology isn't built on words. It's built on emotion. And emotion always leaks through behavior. She can fake disinterest, but she can't fake instinct. She might cross her arms to look guarded, but her pupils will still dilate. She might say she's not impressed, but her voice will soften when she says your name. She might say she's just busy, but she'll find small excuses to stay in your orbit. The mind hides, the body reveals. In this video, we'll uncover 7 secret signs that a woman is deeply into you, even if she'll never say it. From the psychological triggers that make her test you, to the subtle behavioral cues that betray her attraction, we'll break down everything you need to see what most men never notice. This isn't about guessing or chasing. It's about observation. It's about learning to read energy the way a Stoic man does. Quietly, calmly, without trying to control it. Because when you understand how women truly express interest, you stop asking, "Does she like me?" and start noticing how much she does. Welcome to the Stoic couple, where attraction is decoded, emotion is understood, and silence says everything. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course, it's a brotherhood, a private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community. Enroll once. Grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. The first sign. Her eyes reveal what her words conceal. They say the eyes never lie, and that's truer in attraction than anywhere else. A woman may control her words, her tone, even her smile, but her eyes will always betray what her heart is trying to hide. When she's into you, there's a spark of recognition that flickers before she can suppress it. It's not dramatic. It's subtle, instinctive. You'll catch it in the way her pupils widen when you meet her gaze, in the extra second she holds it before pretending to look away, in the quick glance that seems to return a little too soon. Her eyes become restless around you, torn between wanting to look and needing to hide that desire. It's not about staring, it's about rhythm. When attraction is present, her gaze doesn't move randomly. It circles you. It travels between your eyes, your mouth, your hands. It studies, memorizes, and then retreats the moment you notice. That micro-hesitation, that flicker of awareness, is where truth lives. Because while her ego may tell her to stay composed, her body reacts to presence before permission. Psychologically, this is called micro-expressive leakage. The eyes reveal emotional arousal before the brain can censor it. When a woman feels drawn to you, her limbic system, the emotional brain, activates subtle signs that even she isn't aware of. Her pupils dilate to take in more of you. Her blink rate slows. The muscles around her eyes soften. These aren't romantic gestures, they're biological admissions, and they happen most when she's trying not to show interest. You'll also notice another layer, the silent battle between control and curiosity. She may glance at you, then immediately look away as if embarrassed. She may act busy, check her phone, or talk to someone else. But every few seconds, her eyes will return to where you are. That's not coincidence. That's instinct tracking attention. Because once a woman feels attraction, her awareness naturally orients toward the source. She may not admit it, but her subconscious will. The Stoic man doesn't chase these signs. He observes them. He doesn't stare back to intimidate or test. He holds eye contact just long enough to anchor calm energy, then looks away first, not in weakness, but in composure. That tiny gesture communicates what words can't. Control. When you can hold a woman's gaze and then release it without tension, you create psychological polarity. She feels your presence, yet senses that you're not seeking approval. That paradox pulls her in deeper. Remember, attraction begins in the eyes, but it matures in energy. The moment you notice her gaze shift toward you more often than coincidence allows, understand that you're no longer invisible. Her eyes are revealing what her pride is concealing. You don't need confirmation because truth doesn't live in speech. It lives in silence, in the look that lingers when she believes you aren't watching. Section 2. The second sign, her body faces you, even when her words don't. Attraction is a quiet language written not in words but in direction. You can always tell where someone's attention truly lives by where their body turns. A woman may speak to someone else, pretend to scroll through her phone, act distracted or detached, yet her body will often betray her mind. When she's drawn to you, even slightly, her orientation gives her away. Her torso, her feet, her shoulders, they begin to face you, even when her head is turned somewhere else. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it's real. Human beings instinctively angle their bodies toward whatever or whoever they desire. It's part of how our nervous system communicates safety and curiosity. When she feels drawn to you, her subconscious tells her body, stay open. So, she may cross her arms for composure, but her legs will still point in your direction. She might look like she's engaged in another conversation, but her toes will stay aligned with yours. Every small movement becomes an involuntary confession. Body language experts call this congruent alignment. When attraction grows, a woman's physical posture unconsciously mirrors yours. If you lean slightly back, she'll do the same moments later. If you rest your arm on the table, she might copy that without realizing. Mirroring isn't mimicry. It's emotional resonance. Her body starts syncing with yours because, on a primal level, she's attuning to your rhythm. It's how the feminine energy blends with masculine stillness. What's fascinating is that this alignment often grows stronger the more she tries to hide her feelings. Her mind tells her to act normal, to keep her guard up, to not give anything away. But her biology has its own agenda. The heart leads before the mind agrees. So, while she may sound distant, her posture leans in. While her words may sound polite, her stance stays engaged. That quiet contradiction is where true attraction hides. The Stoic man notices without reacting. He doesn't fidget, doesn't adjust his posture to impress. He stays composed and lets her energy move first. His calm becomes a gravitational field. The more stable his presence, the more her body responds. That's the essence of masculine energy. It doesn't chase attention. It invites alignment. You don't have to decode every motion. You just have to sense the direction of her energy. And here's what most men miss. Attraction isn't built through pursuit. It's revealed through awareness. When you see her body consistently facing you even in casual moments, when her energy orients toward you despite her pretending not to care, you're witnessing instinct overcoming pride. Her words may keep the facade of indifference, but her body has already chosen its truth. So stay still. Observe. Let silence reveal what conversation hides. Because when her body keeps finding its way back toward yours, she's already told you everything you need to know without saying a single word. Section 3. The third sign. Her voice changes around you. You can learn more about a woman's attraction from her voice than from her words. The voice is a gateway between emotion and expression, and it rarely hides the truth for long. When she's into you, even if she tries not to show it, her tone begins to shift. It softens, slows, and becomes slightly more melodic. The volume drops, her speech elongates, and her rhythm adapts to yours. What you're hearing isn't coincidence. It's chemistry leaking through sound. Female psychology explains this phenomenon simply. When a woman feels emotionally safe or physically drawn to a man, her nervous system relaxes. Her vocal cords, which tighten under stress, begin to loosen. The result is a smoother, warmer tone, one that carries emotional resonance instead of guarded control. It's not a decision, it's instinct. She doesn't think about sounding different. Her voice just changes because you affect her state. You'll notice it most in contrast. She may sound lively and quick around her friends, yet calm and measured when she speaks to you. Her pitch may drop slightly. Her laughter may become quieter, more genuine. She might take longer pauses between words, as if subconsciously savoring the interaction. Even over text, this shift appears. Her messages start feeling lighter, more expressive, sprinkled with emotional undertones instead of formality. All of it signals one thing: comfort mixed with curiosity. But there's another layer most men overlook: tension. When she likes you, but doesn't want to admit it, her voice will sometimes betray both attraction and restraint. You might hear a sudden change in pitch when you compliment her, a small stutter when she's caught off guard, or laughter that lingers a second too long. Those small fluctuations aren't mistakes. They're signs of emotional conflict. Her body is trying to stay composed, but her voice has already surrendered. The Stoic man doesn't try to decode every sound. He listens differently. He listens not for what she's saying, but for what she's feeling. He pays attention to tone, pacing, pauses, the emotional vibration behind her words. Because tone reveals comfort, and comfort reveals trust. When a woman feels drawn to you, her voice becomes a bridge, a quiet attempt to connect without exposing too much. And this is where silence becomes powerful. When you respond calmly, slowly, with presence, her voice continues to adapt to your frequency. She mirrors your rhythm. Her energy aligns with your stillness. That's why your calm matters more than your charm, because it teaches her nervous system to relax in your presence, and attraction thrives where peace begins. So, the next time she speaks, listen carefully. Forget the words. Focus on the melody. The change in her voice will always tell you the truth her pride won't say. Section 4. The fourth sign. She finds reasons to stay around you. When a woman is into you but isn't ready to admit it, she'll find small, almost invisible ways to keep herself close. She may not say, "I like being around you," but her behavior will quietly confess it. She'll linger longer than she needs to. She'll hesitate before leaving a conversation. She'll find harmless excuses to remain within your atmosphere, small pretexts that allow her to feel your presence without exposing her emotions. This is one of the clearest indicators of attraction, proximity disguised as coincidence. You might notice she shows up in places where you happen to be, or suddenly shares interests that bring her into your environment. She might ask casual questions that have nothing to do with the topic, not because she needs answers, but because she needs connection. These subtle invitations aren't about words, they're about emotional gravity. Your presence has become something she quietly craves. From a psychological perspective, this is called approach behavior. It's when someone's emotions override their rational mind, drawing them closer to the source of attraction. She doesn't plan it consciously. Her instincts do it for her. That's why her actions often contradict her words. She may say she's just being friendly, but her timing, her attention, and her excuses tell another story. Every moment she stays when she could have walked away is an unspoken admission. You'll recognize it in the smallest details. How she waits for you to finish speaking, even when the conversation could have ended. How she suddenly remembers one more thing she forgot to mention. How her body turns slightly toward you when she's about to leave but doesn't. It's hesitation wrapped in subtlety. She's battling between her pride, which wants control, and her emotion, which wants closeness. And emotion always finds a way to win, even if it hides behind logic. The Stoic man reads these patterns but doesn't exploit them. He remains centered. He allows her space to stay without attaching meaning to it, because true masculine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. It understands that her desire to linger is not a signal to pursue, but a reflection of how peace feels in your presence. The calmer you are, the longer she'll stay. Women are naturally drawn to emotional stability. It's rare, grounding, magnetic. So when she keeps finding ways to be near you, don't overthink it. Don't force the moment. Let her stay in the silence. Let her linger in the energy. Because her need to be close is her subconscious telling her she feels something she can't quite name. Something she's not ready to admit out loud, but can no longer hide through behavior. When a woman finds reasons to stay around you, she's not being polite. She's seeking peace. And that peace is you. Section 5. The fifth sign. She mirrors your energy and emotions. Attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet imitation. A woman who's drawn to you won't tell you directly, but her energy will start to synchronize with yours. Without realizing it, she begins to mirror your movements, your tone, even your emotional rhythm. It's her subconscious trying to create connection without exposure. You can see it in her gestures. How she takes a sip of her drink right after you do, how she leans back when you relax, or how her breathing begins to match your own pace. It's not mimicry, it's alignment. Psychologically, this is called limbic resonance. It's a deep emotional phenomenon where two nervous systems begin to harmonize when comfort and attraction coexist. When a woman feels drawn to you, her body doesn't imitate yours out of strategy. It's instinct. Her energy begins to echo yours because, at a primal level, she feels safe inside your calm. The more you stay grounded, the more her emotions start to settle around your presence. That's the essence of masculine polarity. Peace that commands attention without demand. You'll notice this, especially in how she communicates. If you speak slowly, she'll begin to slow down too. If you take pauses between sentences, she'll mirror that silence. If you lower your tone, she'll unconsciously do the same. It's the mind's way of saying, I trust this rhythm. Because when attraction meets security, mirroring becomes natural. It's her emotional system adapting to your vibration. What makes this so powerful is that it reveals emotional surrender, not submission, but openness. A woman can only mirror a man's energy when she feels comfortable letting go of control. When she's unsure, defensive, or detached, her behavior feels disjointed, her tone sharp, her pace inconsistent. But when she starts to mirror you, it means her walls are coming down and her instincts have taken over. She's connecting not through words, but through energy. Most men never notice this because they're too focused on how to impress. They talk louder, move faster, or change themselves to seek validation. But the Stoic man does the opposite. He doesn't adapt to her. He allows her to adapt to him. He understands that energy doesn't chase, it stabilizes. The stronger his composure, the easier it is for her to fall into his emotional rhythm. This is why stillness is so powerful. Because it's not about being distant. It's about being centered. When you are calm, women mirror that calm. When you are grounded, women feel safe. And when you are emotionally disciplined, women feel magnetized. So if you notice her matching your tone, your movements, or even your silence, don't interrupt it. Let it unfold naturally. Because that quiet synchronization isn't coincidence. It's connection in its purest, most instinctive form. Her subconscious telling you, I feel you. Section 6. The sixth sign. She gets nervous when you're close. Attraction isn't always confidence. Sometimes it's tension. When a woman is drawn to you but hasn't accepted it consciously, her body begins to react before her mind catches up. You'll notice the shift when you get physically closer. She becomes slightly restless. Her breathing changes. Her gestures grow smaller. Her energy, once open and fluid, now tightens slightly. Not out of discomfort, but out of awareness. She's hyper-aware of your presence, of your tone, of how close you are. That nervousness isn't rejection, it's recognition. What most men mistake as indifference or shyness is often the nervous system processing attraction. When emotion builds faster than logic can handle, the body becomes a translator. You'll see it in the way she touches her hair, adjusts her clothes, plays with her jewelry, or glances away just as you make eye contact. Those aren't random fidgets, they're self-soothing mechanisms. It's her body managing excitement, trying to balance the surge of adrenaline that your presence triggers. In psychology, this reaction is called autonomic arousal. It's the body's physiological response to heightened emotion. Her pupils might dilate, her pulse quickens, her voice softens. Sometimes, she even starts talking faster to fill the silence. It's the physical manifestation of a simple truth. Your presence has disrupted her composure. You've entered her emotional space, and her body is reacting to it in real time. The fascinating part is that this nervousness doesn't come from fear. It comes from a loss of control. She's used to handling attention, but your energy feels different, quieter, heavier, more stable. It doesn't seek approval, it observes. And that calmness is what makes her body nervous, because it pulls her out of her emotional rhythm. Her usual methods of control, charm, confidence, or pretense no longer work. Instead, she finds herself reacting instinctively, as if her body knows something she won't admit. She's attracted. The Stoic man doesn't exploit this tension. He respects it. He understands that true connection can only grow in the space between safety and uncertainty. He stays composed, grounded, and calm. He doesn't move closer to test her. He stays still, letting her decide how near she wants to be. His stillness becomes her comfort. His presence becomes her test. And the more she realizes she can feel so much without a single word being said, the more the attraction deepens beyond physical curiosity into emotional gravity. You see, nervousness isn't weakness. It's intensity disguised as restraint. It's the body confessing what the ego is still denying. So when she seems slightly anxious around you, don't interpret it as discomfort. Interpret it as proof. because the feminine energy only trembles in the presence of something it recognizes as strong, grounded, and quietly powerful. When she gets nervous around you, she's not afraid of you. She's afraid of what she feels for you. And that's the kind of fear that keeps her thinking long after you've walked away. In the end, attraction was never about words, compliments, or performance. It was about energy. The quiet, invisible exchange between a grounded man and an emotionally tuned woman. Because the truth is, women don't fall for appearance. They fall for presence. They fall for the feeling of calm inside chaos, for the confidence that doesn't need to prove itself, for the man who moves differently, speaks less, but means every word he says. Every sign she showed, the glances, the tension, the hesitation, they weren't random. They were signals her pride couldn't translate, but her body couldn't hide. She was testing your balance, feeling your rhythm, and watching whether your stillness could handle her storm. That's how feminine energy recognizes masculine strength, not in noise, but in composure. The modern world teaches men to chase, to prove, to perform. But the wise man, the Stoic man, does the opposite. He doesn't rush to expose emotion. He allows space for energy to reveal truth. He understands that attraction isn't built through effort. It's uncovered through awareness. The woman who's truly into you won't tell you in words. She'll show you through her softness, through the way her energy adjusts around yours, through the comfort she feels when your silence replaces chaos. And when you learn to read these signs, when you see her eyes linger longer than they should, when you feel her presence pull toward you, even when she pretends she's not interested, when her energy begins to mirror your calm, that's when you realize something deeper. Attraction isn't a game between man and woman. It's an exchange between stability and emotion. She doesn't fall for what you say. She falls for what she feels when you say nothing. That's why emotional control is everything. Because in a world full of men who try too hard to be noticed, the one who can remain silent becomes unforgettable. The one who can listen without needing to respond becomes magnetic. The one who can observe without reacting becomes dangerous, not in aggression, but in peace. Remember this, women are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to authenticity. They are drawn to the man who is present, but not desperate, confident, but not arrogant, calm, but not cold. A man who knows who he is doesn't need to announce it. His energy does the speaking. So stop trying to force connection. Let her show her interest in silence. Let her energy speak before her pride does. Because when you truly understand how attraction works, you stop asking, is she into me? And start realizing, if she is, I'll know. I don't need to chase proof. That is the truth behind female attraction. It's not in her words. It's in her energy. And only the man who can stay still long enough will ever feel it. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at thestoiccouple.podia.com. Enroll once. Grow forever.